My final film for September 2021 is Netflix's Nightbooks. So that means after this video, I can get the ranking of all the September movies I saw, which there will contain 6, which will be Shang-Chi, Cinderella, this, My Little Pony, Dear Evan Hansen. What the hell was the other one? Oh, Prisoners of the Ghostlands. Completely forgot about that one. So, yeah, I know this one came out, 2 weeks ago by now? I think this came out on the 15th, so I'm not going to care about spoilers, if I even go into spoilers. Recently, I haven't really been. I've been mostly avoiding them in a lot of my recent reviews, partly because 2 of my most recent reviews I saw early screenings of, so it wouldn't have been smart to give spoilers, although I did give a spoiler corner for Dune, so... But I give them a heads up for that one. But again, this one, if you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and go watch it, and then come back if you don't want to hear spoilers, because I'll probably get into a few here, but yeah, so you've been warned. So Nightbooks follows this 10-year-old kid. They don't say how old he is. I'm guessing he's like 10. This kid named Alex, who has a knack for writing scary stories. And after he's lured into a witch's apartment, which played by Kristen Ritter, who you may know as Jessica Jones from the Marvel Netflix shows, and he must write a new scary story every night if he is to survive. And he meets another child there who was abducted about 3 years earlier, I think they say, named Yasmin. And there's also a cat. One of those hairless, freaky-ass cats, like the ones you see in, old Egyptian mythology and that kind of shit. Those kind of cats. And so, yeah, this was a movie I didn't see any trailers for. It's kind of in the same vein as last year, where I didn't see a trailer for a lot of the movies I saw. I just kind of passed it and then said, yeah, sure, let's watch it so I can get an easy review out. That's kind of what happened here, too. I didn't have much anticipation for this movie. I didn't watch any trailers. I was planning on it, but I forgot. And I finally watched it last night because I had absolutely nothing to do. And I was expecting it to be pretty decent. It was getting some pretty good reviews, but yeah, this is pretty good. I actually really enjoyed this. Probably one of the most surprising things to me is that the acting out of the 2 kids is actually really good. Most of the time you see these kind of movies where they have, kids as, the main characters, and it's usually pretty bad. Usually some, cringeworthy acting, or at least when kids are, bouncing off of each other. In the first Harry Potter movie, when they're talking to the adults, they're fine, but then when they have to bounce off of one another, they're awkward as hell. Here, they got 2 very good child actors here, and they do a damn good job with their performances. And I do like that these characters feel like real kids, because they're not overly sanitized, it's none of that. They snap, they swear, they do all this other stuff that you would see kids doing nowadays. No, they're not dropping F-bombs or anything, but I don't think a kid that young is going to be. At least they shouldn't be. But every once in a while, you'll get a minor swear word out of them, and yeah, that feels realistic, especially for the setting that they're in. And Kristen Ritter's actually pretty fun here. She pulls in kind of an over-the-top performance as the witch, but I feel like that's intentional. And every once in a while, she kind of just acts normally, and it works. And the cat is not a great effect. I'll get into the effects in a bit, but this cat is kind of a weird character. It's they say at the end that he's a prisoner there as well, or she's a prisoner. I don't know. They say the cat's a prisoner at the end, but they don't really go into it any further. They realize, hey, wait, you're a prisoner here too, aren't you? They don't say why. Why was the cat lured in? Why is it still there? Why does she want the cat in the first place? It's not like the cat. Well, I guess she used the cat to spy on Yasmin and Alex, but that's really all the cat does. It can turn invisible, because why not? And there are a few, comedic moments to this. Some of them suck. Of course, there's a joke where the cat Lorene, I don't remember what it's called, craps on Alex's sandwich. I couldn't say that without cringing. Like if you heard like my voice kind of messed up, this because my lip kind of like cringed, kind of like tensed up as I was saying that. I was like that, so I was like cringing. I couldn't even get through it because that was so stupid. But there are a few others that work. I do like the twist at the end that Ritter's character was, I guess, the first prisoner, or at least one of them, and she's the one who had been writing the notes in the book. I kind of figured it out ahead of time, but not as early as you would think. Normally when you say, "Oh, I got it early," that's one of those dicks who claim that they got it like right off the bat. I didn't get this right off the bat. I really didn't. I picked it up when I saw the unicorn in the woods. The second they went out to the woods, I knew they were still in the apartment because there was 40 minutes left in the movie. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be that easy. There's something else here. So, yeah, I knew that. But the second I saw the unicorn, I'm like, okay, now I think I got it. And I did. And she actually works for, I guess, The Witch from Hansel and Gretel, because this is basically an updated retelling of Hansel and Gretel. And we had one of those this year, and it was called Secret Magic Control Agency, and it sucked. This was way better than Secret Magic Control Agency. I didn't see Gretel and Hansel from last year. Was it last year, or was it this year? I think that was last year, but I didn't watch that because I had no interest in it whatsoever. And so I guess the witch is supposed to be from Hansel and Gretel, even the fact that her lair is underneath the candy house from the book. And it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It is set up very cleverly ahead of time, where Ritter's character, the witch, I think her name is Natasha, is that it? So, and Natasha says that every story the best stories have hints at truth. And he's like, the first time he sees like these notes written by this mysterious person who we later learned was a younger version of Natasha in the original copy of Hansel and Gretel. So, and that's really clever. That was a really clever way to set up this climax. And they kill the witch the exact same way in the end, which I thought was fine. It didn't really do much. I did like that they updated it a little bit. They didn't just push her in the oven in the candy house. They did it in a boiler room in Alex's apartment. I'm like, okay, that's fine. The actual story portions of this are very short, but that's okay. They're not really the main focus. The main focus is, of course, on Alex and Yasmin trying to get out. And I do like how Yasmin, at this point, has lost all hope of escape. And normally I hate these kind of characters, but here they kind of make it work because she's been stuck there for 3 years. She's probably, like, 12 at this point. So you think a kid by that point would just be like, yep, I give up. I'm screwed. I'm not getting out of here. And yeah, so there are a few really weird things about this movie, though. Like, there's one thing, there's like this plant nursery where she like makes all her potions and stuff, and that's of course where they make the sleeping potion to knock her out so they can try to escape. And there's this really long scene with these things called shredders, which are interesting designs. They're like these kind of like weird scorpion, they're like really tiny versions of the white creatures from the Tomorrow War. If they're like the size of a scorpion, they look like scorpions, but they had a skull head. It's I don't know what happened there. My brain just stopped. It's kind of creative. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's creative. But there's this really long scene in there where they have to like stomp on all the eggs, and then they have to kill one that got loose, and then another one gets loose and tears up all Alex's Nightbooks. And that part is fine, but the scene in the nursery went on so goddamn long. It was like a good 5 minutes where it could have just been a quick minute 30 scene, but it kept going. And so that is one thing. Some scenes in this movie go on way too long, but that's not really an issue. That's just a personal problem. And yeah, I guess that can lead to the special effects in this look pretty good. The cat looks a little wonky, but using the effect for that long in this low budget, you're not going to get Avengers Endgame. You're not. So I can excuse the cat, because at least the cat has some expression. This isn't like Lion King, where the animal's completely lifeless, but looks real. This one looks artificial, but at least it has some expression to it. think like Garfield from, Garfield, when they had just a CGI cat, and it's glaringly obvious when someone has to like pick him up. It's glaringly obvious they're not holding anything, and the cat is inserted later. Same kind of thing happens here every time Alex or Yasmin Natasha picks him up. It's so clear that they're not holding anything, but the actors actually make it work. And like the sets are well designed. I especially like the library. It looks really cool. The music fits. The music just fits the movie. It's nothing to write home about, but it was pretty decent. So yeah, I can actually really recommend Nightbooks. It was not exactly scary, but I don't think it was supposed to be. If that was supposed to be scary, it was a miserable failure in that department. But I don't think it was. I think that only had a PG rating, maybe PG-13. I don't know, But yeah, I can recommend it. I may go back and watch this again when Halloween rolls around because I actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's all I get from Nightbooks. 4.1 out of 5. That was very surprising. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe for more reviews like this. And have you seen Nightbooks? What did you think of it? Have you even heard of Nightbooks? I feel like I have to ask this question a lot when it comes to like these streaming movies. Like, have you even heard of this? Because it's kind of warranted. Now, so yeah, that's all I got for Nightbooks. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go work on my ranking for this month. It's going to be pretty easy, though. Thank God.